Imagine the smell of freshly baked bread, that warm, comforting, almost magical aroma. For many, it's the smell of home. But for millions of people with diabetes, it's also the smell of something they've been told to fear.
It's true. Bread, especially white bread, is often at the top of the foods to avoid list for managing blood sugar. But what if there was a type of bread, an ancient form of bread that operates on a completely different set of rules? What if the secret wasn't avoiding bread, but choosing a smarter, older, more alive version of it?
Welcome to the Healthy Food to Eat podcast, the show that slices through the myths to give you the evidence-based facts about the food you eat.
We're not here to tell you stories. We're here to investigate the science. Today, we're putting one of the world's oldest breads under the microscope, sourdough. The big question is sourdough bread actually a good choice for people with diabetes? And if so, what is the deep science that makes it possible?
Before we can celebrate the solution, we have to fully understand the problem. Why is most modern bread a challenge for diabetes management? It boils down to two things: the type of carbohydrate and the speed of digestion.
And that speed is measured by our old friend, the Glycemic Index, GI. As a clear reminder, the GI ranks foods from 0 to 100 based on how rapidly they raise your blood sugar. Pure sugar is 100. Standard commercial white bread made with refined white flour is a notorious high flyer, often scoring around 75.
A score of 75 means it's digested incredibly quickly, sending a rapid flood of glucose into the bloodstream. For a person whose body has difficulty producing or using insulin effectively, this creates a blood sugar spike that the body can't manage, followed by a crash. It's a metabolic roller coaster.
And let's be clear, even many commercial whole wheat breads aren't a perfect solution. While they contain more fiber, the flour is often pulverized into a fine powder and made with fast-acting yeasts. This means that while they're better than white bread, many can still have a moderate to high GI, often in the 60s or even low 70s.
So the core problem is this: modern bread production is optimized for speed, consistency, and shelf life. It uses highly refined flours and commercial baker's yeast, Saccharomyces cerevisiae, that are selected for their ability to raise dough in just a couple of hours. This efficiency comes at a metabolic cost.
Okay, so if the speed of commercial yeast is a key part of the problem, let's talk about the alternative. What makes sourdough fundamentally different?
This is where the story gets fascinating. Sourdough isn't made with a packet of yeast. It's leavened with a sourdough starter, which is a living, symbiotic culture of microorganisms. It's a mix of flour and water that has been colonized by wild yeasts and a very special group of lactic acid bacteria.
And symbiotic culture, meaning the yeast and bacteria work together?
Precisely. They have a cooperative relationship. The wild yeasts are different from commercial yeast. They work much more slowly. And as they work, they create byproducts that the lactic acid bacteria then feed on. In return, the bacteria create an acidic environment that protects the culture from bad microbes and also provides compounds the yeast can use. It's a perfect, self-sustaining ecosystem.
So what are these organisms doing in the dough during the long, slow fermentation, which can last anywhere from 8 to 24 hours or even longer?
They are performing a biological miracle. They are essentially pre-digesting the flour for us. This isn't just a poetic term, it's literally what's happening. They are breaking down the complex components of the flour, the starches and the proteins, long before the bread ever enters our bodies.
Here's a question for everyone listening to ponder. We often seek out probiotic foods like yogurt or kefir for our health. Have you ever considered that a loaf of bread could function in the similar way, as a product of beneficial bacterial activity?
That's the perfect way to reframe it. The primary byproducts of this bacterial feast are organic acids, mainly lactic acid, which gives a creamy yogurt-like tang, and acetic acid, which provides a sharper, more vinegar-like sourness. These acids are not just for flavor. They are the chemical keys that unlock sourdough's health benefits.
Okay, let's get into the nitty-gritty science. We have these beneficial acids. What is the step-by-step mechanism by which they help someone with diabetes?
There are several proven mechanisms. Mechanism 1. The acids directly slow down gastric emptying. The acidic nature of the bread signals your stomach to hold on to its contents for longer. This creates a bottleneck, preventing the sugars from rushing into your small intestine all at once. This slow, metered release is the single biggest factor in preventing a blood sugar spike.
So the sourness is literally a signal to your body to slow down. What's the next mechanism?
Mechanism 2. The fermentation process itself modifies the starch molecules. It increases the proportion of what's called amylose relative to amylopectin. Amylose is a more tightly packed starch that is harder for our digestive enzymes to break down. This structural change, combined with the presence of the acids, means that even when the carbs do get to your intestine, they are digested more slowly.
This is incredible. So it's a two-pronged attack, slowing down the release from the stomach and slowing down the breakdown in the intestine. This explains the glycemic index difference.
Exactly. It's why numerous studies confirm that authentic sourdough has a GI of around 53, placing it firmly in the low category, while bread with the same flour but commercial yeast is up around 75. But it's not just the glucose response. Studies also show that the insulin response is significantly blunted. This means your body needs to produce less insulin to handle the same amount of carbohydrate, which reduces the strain on the pancreas.
The blood sugar benefits alone are a game changer, but you're telling me there's more?
Yes, and this is where it gets even more compelling. Whole grains are packed with minerals, but they also contain a compound called phytic acid, sometimes known as an anti-nutrient. Phytic acid binds to minerals like magnesium, iron, and zinc in the gut, forming insoluble complexes that your body can't absorb.
So you might eat a mineral-rich food, but you don't actually get all the benefits.
Correct, but the long, slow fermentation of sourdough works wonders here. The bacteria in the starter produce an enzyme called phytase, which effectively neutralizes and breaks down the phytic acid. Research shows sourdough fermentation can degrade up to 90% of the phytic acid in whole wheat flour. This unlocks the minerals, making them more bioavailable for your body to use. For a person with diabetes, getting more magnesium, which is crucial for insulin sensitivity, is a massive bonus.
And what about the impact on our gut microbiome?
Sourdough bread acts as a prebiotic. While the live bacteria are killed during baking, the compounds they created and the specific types of fiber in the bread remain. These serve as excellent food for the beneficial bacteria already living in your gut, promoting a healthier and more diverse microbiome, which is increasingly linked to better inflammatory responses and improved metabolic health.
This science is incredible, but it's all meaningless if you can't find the real thing. I suspect the sourdough loaf at the big box supermarket isn't what we're talking about.
You are absolutely right. This is the most crucial piece of practical advice. You must beware of what I call a sour faux bread. These are mass-produced loaves made with commercial yeast for speed, with a sour flavoring agent added at the end to mimic the taste. They offer none of the health benefits.
So how do we become sourdough detectives and spot the real from the fake?
It's all in the ingredients list. True sourdough has a beautifully simple list. Flour, water, salt. That's it. It might say sourdough culture or levain, but it must not list yeast, baker's yeast, or yeast extract. Another clue is the price and source. Authentic sourdough takes time and skill, so it's usually found at dedicated local bakeries and costs more than a standard loaf.
And what about flour? Once we've found a real bakery, what should we choose?
The gold standard for diabetes management is a sourdough made from 100% stone-ground whole grain flour, like whole wheat, spelt, or rye. This gives you the maximum fiber content on top of all the fermentation benefits. Even a white flour sourdough is a huge step up from regular bread, but the whole grain version is the pinnacle. And finally, let's talk about the plate. The bread is only one component.
Absolutely. Portion size is still king. A serving is one slice, and you must always follow the pairing rule.
Pair your carb with protein, fat, and fiber. A slice of whole wheat sourdough topped with jam is a bad idea. A slice topped with 2 scrambled eggs and a slice of avocado is a fantastic blood sugar stabilizing meal.
All right, let's distill that deep dive into the essential takeaways. Is sourdough good for diabetics? Yes, authentic sourdough is a scientifically superior choice.
First, the magic is in the long, slow fermentation. This pre-digests the flour and creates organic acids that slow digestion, lower the glycemic index, and reduce the insulin response.
Second, you must read the label and find the real thing. The ingredients should only be flour, water, and salt. Avoid sour faux from the supermarket. Choose whole grain varieties whenever possible.
Third, the benefits of fermentation go beyond blood sugar, unlocking more minerals like magnesium and promoting better gut health.
And finally, context is everything. A single slice, paired intelligently with protein and healthy fats, is the key to successfully incorporating this amazing bread back into a diabetes-friendly lifestyle.
We hope this episode has demystified sourdough and shown you how ancient wisdom can provide powerful solutions for modern health challenges. It's not about restriction, it's about making smarter, more informed choices.
If you found this useful, please subscribe to the Healthy Food to Eat podcast so you don't miss our future deep dives. And remember to check your own blood sugar to see how your body personally responds. We'll leave you with a challenge. Next time you're near a real bakery, go in and ask them about their sourdough process. See if you can spot a true traditionally made loaf. Let us know if you find one. Thanks for listening.